What's up, everyone? Welcome to Screen Fiend. It's your boy Carcino, and yes, Godzilla 1998, the movie that bombed. Had a lot of great times doing that film. Godzilla 1998 was so bad. It was just unbelievably awful. They didn't want to reveal what Godzilla looked like until it was time, or I guess they felt it was time enough to reveal what the monster looked like. And when they revealed it, it looked like a gigantic lizard. And that killed the entire film. Not only, you don't know how bad this is until you watch it, but everywhere they turned in this film was a disaster. The look and the actual concept art that they decided to go with, when they had concept art that was way better than this, to them trying to explain the origins of Godzilla, making him a monster that they created during blast testing over in the Congo areas or wherever they were doing bomb testing, that the egg was just turned into this monstrous creature that just started eating everything up in its path. Who just basically ate fish all day. And that was his goal: eat fish, eat a lot of it, try to avoid capture, eat fish, get a lot of it, have some babies. So Godzilla started having babies. And then it was a whole thing with the Madison Square Garden. And yes, this film was a disaster. Now, what was even more of a disaster is the sequel. There was a sequel to this. They had it written out and doing this whole press run. Bigger is better. That was their whole program run. They were like all the advanced ticket sales and people ready to go watch Godzilla. They were very confident in the film doing well, and they had a three-part movie set up. And the three-part movie was going to have Godzilla fight all these monsters. Now, the sequel was set up to continue right where they left off with Matthew Broderick and this reporter. Matthew Broderick eventually finds this egg that just hatched in New York City, and it was one of the Godzilla eggs where he nurtures the Godzilla, and the Godzilla animal, whatever the creature is, imprints on him. Now, a writer who did Tarzan was the guy handling this. He did the Tarzan animated film. He was handling the writing for this script. Uh, they were fired and replaced with another group of people where they kept certain things and removed others. Well, my buddy drew some things he wanted to send me. So, Godzilla 1998. This sequel was such a bad disaster. Once the first week numbers came in, and it was very good for Godzilla, but the reviews was like, this is a joke, this is dismal. So they decided to go ahead and alter the rest of Godzilla. And they said, wow, this script is going good. And in the first script that they greenlit and they said it's great, they had the monsters, the artwork on what they Godzilla who he was gonna fight. Because they said, well, in the first one we kind of teased it. The second one, we're gonna have this island he's gonna find, where there's a whole bunch of different type of Godzilla-like monsters. It was even worse. They had it was giant insects like termites, like they were insecticons in there, taking people to the nest. Mothra was gonna end up coming in and helping them out at the end. Then in the third film was he's gonna really have a super challenge. And the other Godzilla ended up having a bunch of eggs. And then the movie in the third one was basically gonna be called Gremlins, basically. That's how bad it was. It was the script for Gremlins. The batch that was the last batch of Godzilla monsters that they had, one of them was not fond of, did not bond with Godzilla like the other ones. Yeah, that's it. The Bad Batch. That's how the third film was gonna work. But let's go over the second one real quick, all the way through detail. So, Nicodopolis, the one that Matthew Broderick character is, he marries his girlfriend, who's the reporter, and they're once again on a mission to track down Godzilla, who's been framed for a whole lot of stuff happening in Australia, where all these people are missing, and then there's dinosaur eggs. Godzilla has been there since he's hit the waters after being raised and fed fish from a market by Matthew Broderick's character. And he leads him to the water so he can escape and swim away because he knows that's where he needs to be, the ocean. So now he hits the ocean. He ends up in Australia where he grows up and eventually has other offspring. And they think these Godzillas are the ones that destroyed all the people in this Australian town. But what's happening is these giant insects are picking people off and taking them to this island where they are, where it's like all this stuff happening on this island from where it's like remote. And that's where Godzilla goes, and that's when they have this showdown in the fights. Now the government's got to make a decision what to do with these other Godzillas. Should they kill them? Should they bring them aboard? Now, as these insect things are fighting the other little Godzillas and all of these things there, and they're going to war, some of the infants die, and then it's only like Godzilla's main infant and himself at the end after he stops the giant insect. The government is ready to hit the bomb and kill him, and the humans all line up around Godzilla so no one harms him. And Godzilla gets away, and that's the second film. It's a bunch of crap. It's very dense. Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Can you get a Suge Knight voice? Well, Suge Knight be trying to sign Godzilla. See, you got talent. I can help you maximize that talent and get to potential. You see me, you see results. I don't got time to be worried about what everybody else doing. I'm only worried about me. And that's it. Other than that, I ain't worried about nothing. Come to death row. Got any problems? Got any other thing out there in the ocean? You know what I'm saying?
invading your privacy. I understand you could deal with it yourself, but you probably don't want to be bothered. You know, that's what we here for protection.
Now, that concept art was like next to the worst. I don't know who Escobar anybody is. You just said. Now, going into the third film for Godzilla, this was their big rollout. So after the batch was hatched and Godzilla got ended up hitting the water with his brood, one of his brood got bigger and got separated from the pack and didn't grow and didn't get a chance to bond with Godzilla. And because it didn't get a chance to bond with Godzilla, Godzilla never had a chance to imprint on the infant. So it grows up and end up becoming Shin Godzilla. And the two Godzillas have to fight each other in the final movie. But not before they destroy some buildings. Matthew Broderick's character at this time, he's like the lead scientist, has his own lab where he's studying the DNA of the creatures to see what happened to them. Realized the government created these characters and wanted to hold these people responsible uh, for testing military bombs and things in remote locations. And basically, the whole movie was a movement to try to reduce killing and putting radiation into the water. It's killing the plant life and fish life, and we don't need to test weaponry in the waters. Like, always like 60 some odd 70 or 80% of our food is in the water, and we don't want to contaminate that. We need the waters. Protect the waters. So that's where we were at in Godzilla Part 3. So he ends up fighting Shin Godzilla, who's more powerful than him. Yeah. A New York City cab in the mouth of Godzilla. And there's a chance they can escape. Driving the car out of his mouth. The design alone looked ridiculous. It's right along with this script. So Shin Godzilla was supposed to be, that's what they called him. Shin Godzilla was supposed to be the main Godzilla in the last installment. The one that didn't grow with the rest of the Godzilla. It didn't imprint on him. And he's too powerful. So Godzilla ended up getting help and calling for help, where Mothra comes in and helps him. So it's Mothra and Godzilla both taking on Shin Godzilla and taking him down before disappearing in the waters yet again. So It never got off the ground because this piece of junk, it dropped so fast in the box office after major promotion. I mean, they were shoving this movie down your throat. It was a new company that started out with their films. They started out with two mega movies, Armageddon and Godzilla. Armageddon was a monster hit that made hundreds of millions of dollars at the box office. Godzilla ended up being the flop for the company, and they would have went bankrupt early, right off the first film, right out the gate on the first film, if it wasn't for Armageddon. Armageddon made up all that ground. So that's that. Now you know. And I'm out. Y'all have a great day. I'm gonna get some rest.